Welcome to That's What She Said, where we'll spill the tea on women empowerment in the Great Lakes Bay region with your host, Christiana Malacara.
It's a good song. Every time, every week, it's just this song just, it gets me excited. And as it should you, because now you can tune in on Spotify. Thanks to the wonderful producer of That's What She Said, Mr. Jonathan Dent. We are now on Spotify, which is so exciting. Download the app, whatever device you're going to use it on. Go to the website, log in, and then when you go under search, you can go to podcast or just go under the search little icon and then put in That's What She Said with Christiana Malacara. I would spell it out for you, but that's a whole lot of letters. And I'll just tag it. I'll put it in the comments below and it'll be fantastic. And you guys can follow us there and share and like and all those wonderful, exciting things because Jonathan has added all of our past conversations and moving forward, those will be on Spotify on Sundays to listen to while you're in the gym or folding laundry. To be honest with you, podcasts are wonderful. And we are so gracious and excited and thankful that Jonathan had made that possible for That's What She Said with Christiana Malacara. So like any week, we are spilling tea all over the place. And, I've never really thought about what kind of tea we're spilling. If there's like jasmine tea, green tea, but that's a conversation for another day. Today, we'll be talking with Miss Carmen Stricker. Miss Carmen Stricker is someone who I admire and am learning more and more about every interaction I have with her. So when I was thinking, Carmen needs to come on here and we need to talk about, and of course I started with idea A. Then she comes in the room and gives me idea A, B, C, D, and E. So we're just going to see where this goes. And it's really exciting because Carmen has some exciting news. She's doing some really awesome things for herself, for the community, and also for students of Saginaw Valley State University. So without further ado, Carmen Stricker. Hi, Carmen.
Hi.
How are you doing today?
Well, how are you?
Thank you. I'm very happy to have you here and introduce you to this space. So we know each other and we know each other in other spaces, but I just gave you a tour of the studio and you're like, whoa, this is different. I didn't know you did this. And I kind of feel the same way. I've seen Carmen in working through nonprofit. I've seen Carmen working in the church aspect. I've seen Carmen through her family. But I don't think I've ever met professional Carmen. So, Carmen, again, thank you for being here. But I would like you to introduce yourself. And what do you do for a living?
Okay, like you said, my name is Carmen Stricker. I was born and raised in Saginaw. I right now work at Saginaw Valley State University as the KCP4S director.
What does that mean?
Yeah. So KCP is, I always like to say it, an umbrella of programs. And the 4S program is one of them that fall under that umbrella. The 4S program I work directly with students who are first generation Pell eligible, so they receive some type of FAFSA from the federal government, and they place in a lower level math or reading or English class. So, I typically recruit about 65 students a year, although there are more that fall in that category. And I work with them from the day they start to the day they hopefully graduate. And that looks very different every day.
That is very specific.
Very
specific. So you're looking for students who are receiving some Pell, right? And then you said first gen college student, correct?
First gen. So that means that first gen definition does vary by who you ask. But for the most part, the definition we're using federal government is that their parent or step-parent or people in the household have not received a bachelor's degree from a university.
Okay. And you said about 65 students
Mhm.
kind of go through your office in a year. an academic year.
Correct. They start and they stay until they graduate. That's the goal.
Okay.
So as they junior, senior year, et cetera, they're still staying with me at different parts in your academic journey. You have different needs and things that are important, such as when you get a senior, you need to do internships, you need to get out in the job world and get ready, where freshmen are still trying to find where the bathrooms are on campus. So it's way
Wow.
different, what their needs are.
Wow. So it sounds like a big culture shock in a lot of ways for these students. And you're there to help navigate them through that entire journey.
Yep.
So there's about 65 students a year. And how long have you been at this position?
3 years.
So you've touched a lot of students' lives.
Yeah. And before that, I was an admissions rep. So
Okay.
I've been there a total of about 12 years now.
So going from admissions rep to this current, I'm not even going to try the title, this current position.
Director position.
Okay. What did that movement look like for you? Was that something that felt
It felt
fluid?
wonderful. It's what I wanted my entire career. I love the working with students, specifically students of color, and addressing the issues that these particular students need. So in admissions, it was wonderful because I got to talk to students about university, but in this position, I get to meet and keep that relationship for the entire time they're there. In admissions, you kind of pass them off and then worry about them. But here I get to be there every single day, sometimes every single hour of that day.
Wow.
So I really, this is what I have strived for my entire life, to be in a position like this.
In the Great Lakes Bay region is very fortunate to have Saginaw Valley, literally in the heart of the region. And to have people like you who are essentially hand-holding in a way to get the momentum going, to get things started.
Right.
What does that outcome feel like for you when one of your students, when one of those kids are walking across the stage? What's that feeling?
It's just amazing. Of course, there's always tears, and I can keep reminding myself, this is the end goal, right? And then they fly away from the nest, and most of the time you hear from them, but they start their life, and that's what you want. You want them to be able to live the best life they can. And if they drop me a high every now and then, that's fantastic. But it just feels wonderful when they walk across that stage.
Wow. Wow. I'm trying to visualize that. And all of these students that have gone, taken a piece of you with them and you vice versa, so that growing aspect, you're helping them grow. Has ever been an instance where a student in reverse has helped you come to realize something in your life and your journey?
I feel that they have helped me realize that I matter, and that I do make a difference in lives. And sometimes I think, did I accomplish anything this week? Was I purposeful in what I did? Was I intentional? And they're just giving me so many happy moments in my life.
The students are giving you happy moments.
Oh, yeah. I'm a servant. I feel my life on earth is a servant. I don't know how corny that sounds, but whether it's in the community, at the university, I feel I'm here to serve others. And it just feels great when you see them reach their goals.
So you said two things here. Part of it was saying you go through your weekend and you're saying, did I make a difference this week? Why do you have that feeling?
Because you can help a student, or you can give I say give them tools. I describe it as I give these students tools, and they don't always succeed. And then I have to say, did I address the issue? Did I give them the correct tools? Did I do my part? And think that through.
What are some of the tools that you give them?
Ooh, lots. So students of color have often come from campuses that do not look like theirs. So they're on a PWI, predominantly white institution. What does that look like for them? Do they feel welcomed? They don't see themselves in classes as we're students. They don't see themselves in the faculty, in the staff. How do I make them feel welcome on campus? So talking to them about issues like that. How do they listen to a faculty when they lecture? How do you take notes? Some students, whether it is what it is, they come from schools where they showed up and they got A's in class, but they weren't given the academic skills to be successful. And I need to help them with that because everyone can learn. Everyone is capable. How do they learn though? Sometimes, they're first generation, so they don't know what they don't know.
I was just going to say that.
That's my saying all the time. And a very good friend, Dr. Olvera, said that to me a long time ago. And I'm like, well, why are you answering my question with that? Like I was frustrated.
It's so true, though. You don't know what you don't know.
No. And I'm there to tell them what they need to know or what they should know. Or, so the transportation issues, financial aid, they're talked to about tuition and living on campus if they want to. And then people's like, hey, by the way, do you know you need about $500 a semester for books? No one's told them that,
Mhm.
right? So now they're struggling and like, I'm going to drop out. I don't have money for books. Let me help you. Sometimes I can see students, whether they open up to me or not, I can say, what's going on? Well, I have everything paid for, but I can't afford food. Oh, do you know SBSU has a food pantry? Let's walk over there.
Wow.
Let's talk about this. So all kinds of issues.
That's a whole spectrum. You just
Yeah.
said it, all kinds of issues. That is a whole spectrum of
Mhm.
issues. So you're able to provide them with a majority of the answers. If you don't know it, it sounds like you're pointing them in the right direction.
Right.
How did you learn that? How did you learn to point them in these directions?
I was being that same student years and years and years ago. I won't say the year, but years ago, and just not knowing. And if it wasn't for the multicultural office and the people that I met at that office and the people that said, hey, Carmen, did you know this or did you know that? I would not have survived university. I would probably have dropped out.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
So that's surprising to me. And I say that really very firmly because what are you currently doing right now in your academic career? You said something about a dissertation?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
what?
Yes, I'm working on my dissertation, the doctoral program at the Central Michigan University in higher ed. Right. I come a long way from being a 2.3 student who did not know how to read a textbook. But I was introduced to the right people. Dr. Siegel, Carrie Siegel, at SVSU. I remember him telling me, everyone learns differently. I'm not the person that can open a book and memorize it. I'm not. I have to take notes, highlight them, purple, green, pink, walk around the room and say them. But I was like, oh my God, my sophomore year, I was like, I'm really smart. I just learn differently than everyone else.
Ooh.
And everyone learns differently.
Okay. You said, I'm really smart.
Mm-hmm.
I just learn differently.
Yes. And everyone is capable of learning. They just have to find out how they learn.
How do you find that out?
By exploring different academic sessions, different academic offices, talking to faculty. Go visit faculty. They'll say, have you tried this method? Have you tried this method? Go to workshops. There's so many tools at Saginaw Valley and people who will help you learn how you learn.
Okay. So Saginaw Valley State University is right here in Saginaw County, in Michigan.
Mm-hmm.
But you're saying this happens on all campuses.
All campuses.
All campuses have these resources.
All campuses.
They want first gen. They want you to be here to learn. They're going to give you people like Carmen Stricker to point you in the right direction of this toolbox that you have.
But we go back to the issue of first generation.
Okay.
They come on the campus. They don't know who to go to. They stay in their rooms, go to class, go back to their rooms. So we can't just assume that they're going to show up and knock on doors. As a matter of fact, we can assume that they're not going to knock on doors to ask for help. We have to go out there and get them. We have to go out there and be visible and show up at things and talk to them and try to connect with them and encourage them.
Okay, so I want to talk about, you said you were a low 2s GPA in college?
Yeah.
What? Let's just hypothetically say that we have a student or a parent of a student listening who's like, that's my daughter. Mm-hmm. That's my daughter. She's, we're struggling. We got her into college. She is enrolled, but the classes just are not, it's just not clicking for her.
Mm-hmm.
What is a piece of advice that you give to that parent?
Find an office that offers the tools. For example, if you're struggling reading a textbook, or you're struggling listening to faculty, and you're not saying, well, what's important and what's not, well, nothing's not important, but what's most important for, go to these workshops in these offices that will teach you how to do these items. And they won't teach you like, this is the way you do it. They'll say, these are the ways you can do it. What works for you?
What works for you?
Mm-hmm.
And so now we're looking at a student from a student's perspective, and I'm just not doing well. And let's say that it's almost imposter syndrome.
We all have imposter syndrome.
Why do you say that?
I'm here. I have 4 degrees. Well, working on my 4th degree, academically all A's since my sophomore year in college, my bachelor's degree.
Okay.
And I still question whether I belong in an academic classroom learning. Like, why am I here? Like, do I belong here? Even the first week of my doctorate program, I was the only Latina in the cohort. Did they pick me because they needed to check that box? I'm like, doggone it, Carmen, no. I have to keep telling myself, you worked hard for this. You're good at what you do, and you deserve to be here.
You have to keep reminding yourself that.
Yeah, because so many messages out there say or remind or kind of the dog whistle that you were hired, or you only are here because of this factor, this factor. Yeah,
I've never heard anybody say dog whistle. Like, I know what a dog whistle is, but can you describe that a little bit more of what that concept is?
Just hearing in passing, DEI initiatives are silly, or there's no reason for them, or there's too much emphasis on cultural and it should be just academics. It's just the constant questioning or throwing out there in the air the questioning of whether cultural issues or microaggressions should be recognized for what they are.
And so you've come to terms with the ideas of, I deserve to be in this room. How did you get to that level of confidence? That was a big
So
well.
I'll share this story.
Okay, let's hear it.
I won't say the place that I worked, but not working very hard at my position and applying for many, many opportunities, I should say, and constantly being passed over. I had more education, I had more work experience, etc. And then finally, I think without even coming up with a reason, they couldn't give me any more reasons why they a couple of individuals took me into a room and said, you don't have what it takes, you're not good at what you do, and you shouldn't even be here. And that kick in the stomach, being told by these white male individuals that I didn't have what it takes when I knew I did, was a kick in the stomach. And from that moment, as I walked out of that room, I just became fierce.
So you chose to take that as fuel to your fire.
Yeah.
To light that match and be, to catapult you into the direction that you needed to get into next. If someone were to be in that room and heard those same words and then just shriveled up, what would you tell her or him?
Yes, I'd stand on top of that table and tell them, you have what it takes. Look at you. Look at your education. Look at what you have accomplished. Look at where you come from. Look at your family. Look at what your grandparents went through to give you these opportunities, what your ancestors have gone through. Do not bow down to anyone. I told them later on, I am not your kitchen help. I have worked hard, and you will listen to me. I'm not going to sit in that room any longer where I suggest something, no one listens to it. 3 people later, white male says the same thing, and all of a sudden it's the best idea ever. That's not going to happen anymore.
So it's having self-confidence,
Yep.
knowing your self-worth, and putting people in your corner that believe in you, Is that something that you see that helps self-esteem and confidence?
I think, yes, putting people in my corner, I wouldn't say that. I have to be my own person. I have
Okay.
to believe in myself. Surrounding myself with the same dynamic, hardworking, go-getting people, women is what I do.
Okay.
I believe in them and they believe in me.
Okay. So I'm a very visual person, as you know.
Mhm.
So we're not necessarily saying, okay, I'm going to go out and fight this battle. I have you behind me. You're more or less saying, let's group together.
Mhm.
There's power in numbers,
Mhm.
and with like-minded people.
Yep.
How how do you find like-minded people?
You start going out and going to events. You start, having coffee with people, go to workshops, and you just gravitate towards someone, and you make that connection.
Do you think that it goes back to the saying of good people attract good people?
Oh, maybe. Yeah.
Maybe.
I never thought of that.
Well, see how much we learn from each
Yeah,
other
yeah.
when when you open up the conversation and you start learning about people and people's thought processes and you know um when we first started getting That's What She Said going, I was interviewed by our producer, Jonathan Dent, and he said, where do you see this going? What direction are we going in? And I, tried to avoid as best as I could saying storytelling.
Hmm.
And I don't know why I did, but what I did say was, I want to have and start conversations that start conversations.
Yes,
So
absolutely.
So I think today this conversation is starting other conversations and saying how can I have confidence in myself? How can I, hold my head higher in rooms that I feel like
Mhm.
I can't?
Right.
And it's very powerful to have someone in the room with me that has, been there, done that
Right.
in a sense. So, That's What She Said. A lot of my listeners will know that I always say this. You're starting putting this ripple into the water, putting this drop into the water and creating a ripple effect. And I see that connection of your confidence going towards the students that you serve.
Yeah.
How do the students are they walking with their head higher? What does that look like for them?
I created some strong fierce Latinos. I tell you right now, just in the last semester alone or last year, I had a couple students, with first generation, first freshman students, and come into me and speak about their on the campus and issues happening, like my I make dinner no matter what it is. My roommate constantly says it smells like Taco Bell in the kitchen,
Mhm.
and she makes me clean it. I'm like, okay, let's talk about this. Let's talk about what a microaggression is. Let's
Mhm.
talk about your reaction to when she texts you and says, you need to clean the toilet, even though it's not your turn.
Mhm.
What do we do? Do we run back and clean the toilet? Or we challenge her on, what are you speaking to me? How are you speaking to me? And why are you telling me that? And to challenge things, to not just jump up and do what other people say.
Yeah. Yeah. There's and uh I know that there's a fine lines there with challenging and challenging towards growth, challenging towards, harm. I know that there's a lot of even those words, she's challenging, or maybe is she bossy? I know that
Questioning.
questioning. Yeah. I know that is all part of those words that become in the conversation when you're talking about women. And we will revisit that idea. We are talking with Carmen Stricker on That's What She Said with Christiana Malacara.
That's What She Said with Christiana Malacara is back. Now let's spill the tea.
And I am Christiana Malacara spilling the tea on That's What She Said with Miss Carmen Stricker. So Carmen just discussed her line of work, how she got there, and what she's doing with it. And what she's doing is just helping forge beautiful futures for students in the Great Lakes Bay region. And when it boils down to that, I think that's the foundation, is educating youth. That's the foundation in any aspect. And right here at Saginaw Valley State University, one of my favorite campuses to be on, outside of Western Michigan University. Go Broncos! But that's a beautiful thing that you're doing, Carmen. And I know there's a lot of people in the community and students that are proud of you for assisting in that forging of the next generation. That is a powerful thing. Let's go down to the foundation of Carmen. Let's get down there, okay? Let's talk about your family and your core values and what made you to be able to do the things that we just talked about. Okay. Guys, I think she was holding her breath.
I know. I'm like,
I don't know if you heard silence, but she was holding her breath. If you had to, and you are going to answer this question.
Okay.
Question number 1. What are your core values? What is maybe a saying or something that somebody told you, or words that you live by?
Let me see. A motto or whatnot.
Sure.
I can't think of it. Si se puede.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Say it again.
Si se puede.
What does that mean?
Yeah, we can do it. You can do it. We all can do it.
We can do it. Yeah.
So I feel that I attribute a lot to my parents, my education, my ganas, my guts to do things.
Mm-hmm.
My dad, who is one of many siblings, always wanted to go to college.
Okay.
His family came up here, work in the fields, and stayed because of the auto industry. Always wanted to go to college, and was told that you leave that to the other people. You go work in the field. So from day one, when I was born, and my sister, he started raising money for us for college. Didn't know anything about it, how to go about it, but he always talked to about going to college. He instilled in us those soft skills that are so necessary. You wake up, you work hard, you show respect, you walk in a room and you say hello. There's always something to do. And that, with a combination of the academic goal, just really has made me who I am today.
So were you always told you're going to college, or did you always know you're going to college?
I always knew. I don't remember.
Yeah.
We just always knew.
After high school, you're going to college.
Yeah. I didn't know anything about it, but I knew I was going to go.
You didn't know if it was a faraway mystical land, but I'm going there.
No, right. I'm even surprised I got in with my grades from high school, but I knew I was going to go.
Well, it's because someone had faith in you.
Right.
Someone pushed you in that direction and
Right.
saying, with love,
Yeah.
this is the direction you're going to go in.
Right.
And so let's go back to mom and dad. What were some of the things that they told you to encourage you when you were in high school and say, this is what's next?
This is what's next in regards to school.
To school.
I mean, not many like things you can say specifically because they didn't know. But you were going to go to school.
Okay.
And in all honesty, as I work on my dissertation right now, and I am interviewing first-generation Mexican-American women, this is what's repeated in all my interviews in the literature, in my current interviews when I talk to students. They're going to go to school, but they don't know how. They don't know where. It's implied as they grow up. If you want the American dream, if you want to, have a great career and earn more money and be more, and I don't think parents should necessarily be saying that, because I think our parents are amazing, but they say, if you want to be more than I am, you have to have a degree. But we don't know how to get you there.
Okay. And you said you're interviewing students for your dissertation.
Yes.
So you are becoming a collector of stories.
Yes.
And I'm using that word because I heard you say it.
Yes.
And I like it.
Hmm.
And so what are you learning from these stories that you're gaining?
So interesting. All of the literature review, all the research that I have done is in these stories that I'm gathering. There, it's saying that yes, this literature is correct and that these students want to go, but there's no one in their family that can give them like how to go about it, that can tell them go about it. Um, Big is that because of our gender roles, because of masculinity, because of the culture, a lot of the women are the caregivers in the family. They take care of their cousins, their siblings. They take care of the elderly. They cook, they clean, they even work to support the family. Um, and then when they are in university, there's a conflict, there's a guilt.
Okay.
There's a huge guilt. Like I'm studying, but I'm also leaving my family behind. I'm not there to do what I have grown up to do. So I'm finding a lot of that is very interesting. So, the guilt that's on their shoulders, even when they graduate, is immense, you know.
So I'm sorry. So you're collecting these stories, you're learning from what they have to say. Do you see any of that resonating with you and saying this related to my upbringing?
Yes.
And is that something that is from their parents as far as, this confidence? Do you think that the confidence in the students is coming from their home or from yeah, there we go. Do you think it's coming from their home or from the confidence for these students to move further is coming from something external?
It's from their home. It's from their home environment. It's from their parents. Um, the the drive is coming. It's there. It's just that a lot of them don't know how to go about it, you know?
So if we're talking about and I love to talk about empowerment,
Mhm.
what is something that you recommend that can be empowering for women out there that want to push themselves? Maybe education isn't the next step for them, but they
Mhm.
want to get to that next level. What is something that they could do?
Well, let me back up. When I say education, and I want to be really clear about this. I
Sure.
don't always mean university or college. Education is everywhere. No matter what you want to do, there's education, training, learning involved. And that's what I mean by education. So, we as women who have gone through our experiences and reached some of our goals, we're never done. Have to be there and reach back to those students and say, "Hey, I'm here. Let's talk." One of my goals is I have a group of friends, very strong female friends, and that's what we want to do. We want to get together. We have before, but continue get together, have coffee, and bring young women in, introduce them. If I know someone in the cosmetology business, that's not my forte. But if I come to a table with other women, I can make that connection and say, hey, this is a person you need to talk to. If this is your dream. This is someone who has gone through it, who has educated themselves on what they need to know and successful, and make that connection.
Being a connector, I was just going to
Yeah,
say a facet from one entity to another.
right.
And outside of, yes, we need to maybe meet for coffee and connect. What are other things that we can do to empower others?
Pick up, your sobrinas, your nieces, your cousin's kids, and take them to a museum, take them to a workshop, sign them up for SVSU has all these, classes or courses, and I'm sure CMU and all of them do. Sign them up. There's scholarship at these different places. You see a STEM activity program that costs 400 and you're like, I can't afford that. Ask if there's a scholarship. Get them into those classrooms, into those situations where they can discover who they are.
And being persistent about it. It sounds
Yes.
like
Mhm.
being persistent.
Yeah, like my dad would always always go back to he'd say, "Okay, we're gonna go so and so place." "Oh, I'd rather stay home." What? That wasn't a question.
Ah.
Not allowing the children to say, "Oh, I don't know anybody. I'm uncomfortable." Yeah, we're gonna do it anyways.
So were you ever in uncomfortable situations that ended up being better for you?
I found my voice because I was continued to be pushed in uncomfortable situations. You learn to grow, right? If you put yourself in situations
Out of your comfort
out of your
zone
comfort zone.
because you're trying something new.
Yeah.
Here.
Yeah.
And you threw me off there.
Sorry.
So we're talking about moments. I have Miss Carmen Stricker here with me, and we're talking about moments of getting out of your comfort zone to foster growth
Mhm.
and in all aspects.
Mhm.
So we're talking about in education, of academia, and then where else in your life have you grown and looked back and it's like, hey, I couldn't do this before, but now I can.
In all areas, community, being involved, making decisions about what I wanna be involved in and what I can't for whatever reason as a woman, you know, um, making better choices in relationships and in what I want in life and what I don't want in life. I've grown in all aspects because I've been involved and I put myself in situations where I can learn from them.
So you're talking about in relationships. Why? How important is it to have boundaries in relationships to say this is something I want to be in and this is something I don't want to be in? And we're talking about relationships with friends, faculty, all over across the board. How do you differentiate and say this is something I need to do and this is something maybe it's not for me right now?
I we need to know how to say no. We need to know what makes us comfortable and recognize it and what does not make us comfortable and walk away from it. Uh, we need to not let others influence us in our decision about where we go, who we hang around with, etc.
To be your own, be your own.
Be your
Yeah.
own. Mhm.
Was there ever an instant where you were the follower? Because you sound like the leader through and through.
Oh, I was a follower for a long time.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. A long time. Mhm.
What what was that pivot?
Saying I wanna be happy. I deserve to be happy. I deserve to recognize my own morals and values and belief system and acknowledge that and apply it to whom I hang around with and what I do. Um, and that just changed everything in life. Not listening to so much noise, but listening to myself.
Listening to yourself.
Mhm.
What makes you happy?
My chickens. No, just kidding.
Okay. Okay. She said her chickens
And ducks.
and her ducks. So this is a real thing.
Yes.
Yes, I want to go into this. Can you tell us about your chickens and ducks, Carmen? Because
I'm
you said that jokingly, but this is your happy place.
My happy place is in my backyard, working on projects, getting my hands dirty. Again, there was no such thing as sleeping in at my house growing up. So but the chores we had or what we did, we had horses, et cetera, et cetera. It instilled in me not only, value of work, but they were good memories too, working with my dad alongside and doing things. So making a garden and smelling the earth and, working with the chickens and cleaning the coop and just the environment, the smells and the reminders all make me very happy.
And you share this happiness.
All the time.
How?
How do I share it?
Yeah.
Oh, I post social media posts and I tell people, for whatever reasons, I have some chickens that just love to be in the house and they like to lay their eggs in the house. And I tell people that and they don't believe it until they see a chicken on their bed, on the spare bedroom. So, I enjoy it.
Yeah.
I enjoy just the comfort of home.
The comfort of home. Okay,
Mhm.
so you are making some monumental moves out in the community, and then when you come home, it sounds like it's so humble, like, "I'm just gonna hang out with my chickens and my ducks
Yep.
today."
Yep. There's a lot of satisfaction in keeping a good home and doing projects and getting them done. And I have nothing to prove to anyone but me, God, and taking care of what needs to be taken care of.
You have nothing to prove to anyone.
Mm-mm. Nope.
Why?
Because they don't matter. I matter.
You matter.
Mm-hmm. And how I behave and how I act and what I accomplish and who I motivate and being a good person matters.
So it's safe to say that it's important, and what's most important is to keep yourself happy.
Yes.
What happens when you keep yourself happy? What is that domino effect to?
Oh, others. I think others around me are happy. I think my husband's happy.
I think he's happy.
I think he's happy. He's happy in general, and
He
you
is.
know.
Yeah, I mean, unless he doesn't like chickens and ducks. But
I know.
mean,
I know. I feel I can accomplish more when I make myself happy.
Oh,
I am able to give more when I make myself happy. So if I need to go help someone with food or give them a ride, or I'm able to, and I'm happy to do it. I don't feel obligated to, but it has to be me giving myself that space to enjoy life.
when did you realize that you needed a happy space?
About a decade ago, I started working on it with my experience at work and whatnot. I said, no, I'm going to create my own world.
You're going to create your own world. So did it take a decade to create your own world?
Yeah, because there's some people, nothing against, no negative against the people, but some people just don't like the new person you become, don't understand it. Maybe it makes them question themselves. Maybe they want just old times. I want you, the old Carmen. And then you listen to noise and you're thinking, no, I shouldn't be doing. It takes a while to become strong enough to be yourself.
You just said a whole lot in like 20 seconds here. And my mind is blown because you're referring to a past version of Carmen.
Right.
A decade ago, Carmen.
Mm-hmm.
And it took a decade to build this one right here.
Right.
So are we ever evolving, or are you happy here and this is who you are?
I feel like you're always evolving. You're always growing. You always have challenges. And then challenges will, when my dad got sick, but I learned who I was. I did take time off from writing my dissertation to take care of him in his last year. And I learned about myself that it is okay to walk away from this huge goal to take care of a person or a moment in time. It's okay to pump the brakes sometimes.
I'm going to quote that. It's okay to pump the brakes sometimes. That's something that we don't hear as women often.
Mm-hmm.
As a woman who's go, go, go,
Yeah.
a lot of hands in a lot of different pots here. There's also women who, they have this singular responsibility, but they still feel very go, go, go.
Yes.
How do you pump the brakes? Is that something where it's just like cold turkey? We're turkey, duck, chicken. Sorry. Is this something where it's like, we're stopping this today? Today is the day. Or is this something that you feel like women need to work their way up to? It's like, let go of this portion. Let's let go of this portion and then get to where they need to go.
I think it's both. Depends, I mean, if it's something that's dangerous or doing harm to yourself, sometimes you just got to cut it off.
Walk away.
Walk away. I'm done. I'm done.
Have you ever had to walk away from something to say, today's the last day?
Yep.
How'd that make you feel?
Scared, but empowered.
Those are two words you don't hear together often.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And did you grow from that experience?
Absolutely. It was a domestic abuse situation. And I said, I'm done.
Yeah.
And scared. I didn't have a dime to my name. Worked 3 jobs. Went to school. But through that adversity, through finding out who I am, through working really hard, because remember, my dad said, you work hard no matter what. I built this beautiful life with this amazing husband who loves me and accepts me for everything. I couldn't have had that if I wouldn't have said, I'm done, and walked away.
you left something to build something else. You opened your own door.
Mhm.
You opened your own house. You built a whole life.
Mhm.
Does this go in line with that decade theme? Does it take that long to rebuild?
Sometimes things don't always run smooth. Even when you make an important decision, you have barriers, you have obstacles. You just keep on going. You keep on going, keep your eye on what you want and your happiness.
Recently, I heard this quote, and I'm probably going to get it wrong because I heard it and it went by. But the quote said something along the lines of, "When you don't see light at the end of the tunnel, look within."
Hmm.
Have you ever had to experience that?
Absolutely. I don't know if I've always looked within. I shouldn't say I've always, but when I made the change and said enough is enough, I began just like that person who realized they're smart, they can learn. I realized that I can grow and I can flourish as a human being within. I have everything it takes within me to build that life.
What are some of those words? One, when I look at you, even before this interview, I've always said Carmen has willpower.
Mhm.
What are some of those words that you see within yourself that you could share to a listener?
Faith. I have extreme faith. Um, like I said, a servant. Because every day, I know this, I'm sharing something I'm not shared with anybody.
All right.
I'm like, how can I serve someone today? What's my opportunities? And if I live off that, I always feel that my day has done well. Because, you put yourself first and you want this, new that, and you knew that, and you knew that. It's never satisfying at the end of the day. You're always searching for something, you're wanting to buy something new, a bigger house, a bigger car. But serving others is so, it fills the bucket. And you just feel whole and you feel like a human being.
When you're serving others.
Mm-hmm.
Or the chickens.
Or the chickens or the ducks.
So you're constantly caring for others.
Yes.
And this is new. A new concept here. And that's what she said. Your fill your cup is caring for others.
Yes. Absolutely.
I have not heard that yet on this show. A lot of times women are sitting in this chair and saying, I serve others so harshly, so much, so often that I need to fill my cup by stepping away from serving. So this is pivotal for me to hear this in this way. I appreciate that. Thank you for that.
Oh, welcome. I mean, there are limitations. You can't go 24/7 and helping others. Yeah, you gotta make yourself happy. Buy those chickens.
Buy the chickens and the ducks.
Right. Right.
That's great.
But serving others, it makes me happy, fulfilled.
Yeah. Yeah. I am excited in the fact that we are having this conversation and that you've shared so much that so many of our listeners can relate to as a servant in academia, in your community, and in relationships. Can you share one last piece of advice that you would give someone?
Believe in yourself full heart and like with your whole heart and your whole soul. I constantly have the students and nothing, I'm not talking about anyone in general, just who come with a 2.3 starting and those who come with a 4 point. And I know that both can fail and both can be successful. It's not that GPA, it's what they have inside of them.
It's what you have inside of you. Thank you for being here, Carmen. Mm-hmm. And ladies and gentlemen, it's Carmen Stricker, and that's what she said.